Chapter 1, Return to Randomness. Diamond and Susan ran out the Golden Hotel, but were greeted by a roaring ice monster. It was in black and white because that's how Dark Mirror was. "Hey guys. What are you doing here? Have you been watching So?" Max was flying around. He had rocket shoes that he used to fly around. He was using a very thin fire whip. The life bar of the blacktail was decreasing like molasses. If Max didn't get help soon, he was losing this video game, with 0 achievements at that. Diamond had a higher power level than even Max in this game, but as we know, Susan has never played the game before. Susan was the last child Max and Diamond had before they became angel-like creatures who can't have children. He had her right before he fought the devil in the last book. It's been a few years since then, so she wasn't really old enough to know what the Heaven Helmet was. It was basically a super sophisticated VR headset that created a simulation of Dark Mirror. They could use magic or like a training room that teleport them digitally or like magically, but Max didn't intend or like purpose to leave the house, so he used the helmet. Elizabeth was playing the game with her dad Max. All Max's kids were there, the 7. Them dogs, dem dogs. Diamond screamed and sent super rapid fireballs from both her hands, arms extended in front of her. The monster howled like a monster, screech, high-pitched, loud. "Listen guys. He's just gonna try to heal, we have to find a way to make sure it doesn't sit down," Max yelled. Lindsay floated the blacktail with leaves, then Elizabeth made a pool of fire under it. It wouldn't be able to sit on a single leaf, so it would fall onto the lava. This is how this kinda always felt to Max. When we come back to life, what was life but one big, nice, neat, swell, polite, awesome, video game? Mario was still nicer in a way, but Max loved coming back to this world to kick some butt every now and then. "Anyone else hungry?" Ashley asked in a humorous, calm way. They all took their helmets off. They were on FaceTime. "Helmets are the way to go," said Elizabeth in a humorous, calm way, just like her sister. Max loved them. They still struggled so much, but Max loved them a lot. That's what mattered. This was kinda all they did. Helmets were the way to go to meanies. They talked about it before. Elizabeth told the truth, but it was true, for today, because they felt like Susan would finally ask what Max was doing. They usually liked to go into the simulation rooms, that way it wasn't weird to the wicked. Spending all our time in heaven playing video games might seem counterintuitive, but Max pitted his kids. It taught them a lot about suffering, love, drama, romance, violence, niceness, meanness, everything. The NPCs got married. Ashley's idea. Smart kid. Lots of beings might be like romance, fuck 'em. She said it, we wrote it, we took advice, but you know what? She was a lot smarter than the wicked thought. When we ate in the game, it nourished our real bodies as well, though in heaven we didn't necessarily need food. Anyone feeling some chicken wings? Everyone laughed. Phiro, Ishal, Alex, God, a little talking hamster. We all ate some wings, barbecue, buffalo. It tasted just like meat, but it was vegan. It wasn't like imitation meat on Earth, which was still really nice, neat, swell, and polite. It tasted just like meat. Once everyone was filled up with fake meat goodness, they all teleport to the same training room, a huge room with metal walls and a wooden floor, same one from before in a way. The scene became the scene they were just in. The men had pain mode on, like some women, but it was off for all children. To varying degrees, our heroes chose to feel pain so they could be nicer, neater beings. The blacktail intended to fake a sneeze, but it felt it was actually sneezing, was too calm, intended to sit. But the leaves wouldn't hold its weight, but once it started falling it kept falling, so it melted in the fires of Elizabeth's magical power. An NPC couple joined them, Jacob and Cynthia. They kissed. That was awesome. Lindsay and Elizabeth, what inspired you guys to think of that? they asked. They were so nice. Lovely beings, but we know there's no marriage in heaven, not to hurt us, but just to make us nicer. To prove it wasn't that mean, we had these NPCs who weren't hurt by their romance, but just weren't as fulfilled or like joyful as the unmarried in the celestial realm of Sabaoth, the little white man who watches us all. Alexandra said, we heard there were some blacktails who were getting high by eating power wires in an abandoned power plant. We feel like they shouldn't do that, Yano. So, let's go stop 'em. Nice idea, Alex. You'll be in your element. We feel you should take the lead on this one. Max said. He was Infinity and 26 years old. But he didn't look a day over 22. They all teleport to the power plant. It was Team All, Abejug, Kyle, Preston, Fyro, Ishal, Max's 7 daughters, Diamond, and an unhittable, unfeeling Susan. No pain mode, Yano? A giant lightning bolt took Alex out. Everyone's ears started ringing. Her hair became super fuzzy. Slight pain mode. We're okay. Max wept. Pain or not, he still felt bad for his own daughter. She said we're okay in a hurt, strained, pained way, but she was acting as we didn't feel pain. We all acted. Her eyes looking like lightning bolts were in them. She started glowing electricity, then sent that Blacktail's attack back at it so hard it howled like a deep-voiced demon. Its life bar was at 1 HP. Susan teleported in front of the Blacktail's face, so she blew fire bubbles. They only did 1 HP damage, but Yano what? To her dad it might as well have been infinity. Max kissed Susan. Oh yesh mommy, oh yesh whittle mama 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 mama, oh yesh. He didn't curse in front of his kids. That's how we know he didn't get too lost in the sauce like the Romans said. If this was real life, Max would be screaming all kinds of inappropriate curses or like swears, but his emotions were in check because he knew everyone was safe. Blacktails emerged from the shadows, chewing huge power cables. They glowed like electricity with lightning bolts in their own eyes. Max sent ice at all of them, but only one picked ice shield. The others picked electricity, fire, air, water, ice, and shadows. Lindsay had to be our secret weapon then. Blacktails had the power of teleportation, so let me tell ya, this wasn't easy. Whenever someone sent out an attack they'd just switch. Lindsay knew she should hide her power, so she used her sword or light gun, which we all carried, though it might not always be visible. Max used tables, chairs, cups, plates. He hit them all with a tree, but to be sarcastic, none of them re-upped their shield for plants. Lindsay knew her time was here, then sent razor-sharp rose petals at all the Blacktails. They were all halfway down. Max's gauge limit filled, so he used it to make the Blacktails repick their power shields, but in fear they all chose nature. So we let em have it. Ishal stole the show with a blizzard so cold they all froze in place, then blew up in little increments up their bodies until they were snow dust on the floor of a black and white power plant. Ha! The power of plants. Max is going to take a seat back to let some of his friends tell their stories. They went back to the Golden Hotel, to the beach. Some things never change, we guess. Chapter 2, Lovely Light. Diana was fishing in a peaceful village. This version of Dark Mirror had more civilized societies. This was a peaceful fishing village, but still, all was black and white. The NPCs were also completely black, like light or like silhouettes, though they could become more normal. So Diana made them normal because she liked how it looked. She also made everything look normal cause she wasn't Max. She was her own dog, though she loved a dog called Max. She caught many fish and kept them in a cooler to eat later with her friends. Something was wrong though. Her rod became so heavy if it weren't for magic it would have broke. A huge fish flew out the water, then started attacking the small fishing village with water attacks. Diana blinded it, then sent balls of light at it, about a fifth down. Her friend Tashiera, a talking Tyra, sent emeralds, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, garnets, onyx, lapis, and tourmaline at it. They were vertically long hexagons. About 5/6 down. The giant fish opened its mouth, sent its sticky tongue out, ate Teixeira and jumped back in the water. Diana wept, then jumped in the water to catch the fish. There were so many blacktails she surrounded herself with a light force field, then sent it out with such force it eliminated all the blacktails right away. They were small fish or like swimming plants. Mean ol, rude ol, impolite ol motherfuckers. Teixeira made the inside of the fish glow, then jewels flew out of it very quickly that glowed their respective, brilliant colors. They held hands, then swam back to shore. Diana sat with her friends on the beach at night, roasting their fish. Sorry Toddy, we wish we could have helped more. Diana said. It's cool Diana. Toddy was a light-skinned black woman with long curly hair, but her normal form was again a beautiful, clean Tiara. We know that thing took you off guard. Fuck it. But please be careful next time, Yano. It was our fault really. While we went hunting for firewood you were fighting our dinner. Toddy said with a quiet confidence. She smiled. They knew they weren't really in danger. Diana said, well, what do you guys think? That's one of the nastier ones we've seen. Diana said. She smiled with a quiet confidence. Poor kid, she's come a long way from pup days. There were 3 men there, Brad, Peter, and Edward, yeah, the guys from the beach. Well, one time we saw a sequoia blacktail, enormous. Brad said with a chuckle and smile. But was it big? Or was it mean and fucking worse than a big fucking fish? Diana said. She felt insecure. She missed her dad. But despite all her insistence, Max said she should get out more. Well, no. Sorry. Brad laughed. We all made mistakes, what mattered was learning from them. But man, that thing was no pushover, that's for sure. Peter said one time we saw a car blacktail, but, no. Man, we even rode in it. He laughed. Talk about a fender bender. He laughed again. Nice man. Teixeira said, well guys, we're glad we have friends like y'all. It'd be funny if we invited the NPCs. They all laughed. LOL, it was pretty funny. Diana said, yeah, well, we're glad you guys are all real, 'cause you're real awesome. What do you guys think our dad's doing? Diana said this with a quiet confidence. She was just like her dad. Tough, kind, loving, a seriously good melee player. Well. Ed started. He's probably watching your little sister in Golden Hotel. He laughed. Probably at the beach. What a nice man. We remember when we first met him. Aw. Glad we fucking made it, we weren't sure there for a bit. They all laughed. Max was proud of his kid. She's come a long way from when they used to eat scraps. Diana wept a lot. They all got up and hugged. All right, come here, don't oppress the poor for they're poor. They all cried and hugged, wiped their tears and laughed. They rode dragons over the dark mirror. Max was glad Diana's dark mirror was kinda light, then he thought, that makes sense, he named her Light after all. Chapter 3, Susan. Silly shape solving. Susan stared at the shapes with a serious concentration, the kind Diamond couldn't touch. She didn't know, did the square go in the circle, square, or triangle? She picked up the cube, considered all her options. The chains of her mind were pups, baby food, Barney, Sesame Street, and Susan. She was named after a baby Max met at a beach. She was a beach ball. This Susan, however, was a beautiful little human being. The math of her mind raced. If we pick circle, it might fit, but might isn't nice enough for dear genius Susan. Square seemed more logical, but the wicked lied, they might be lying now. Triangle, looked like square with rough edges, but poison ivy looked like ivy, but rashes didn't look like normal skin. No. Max didn't let that happen, but they did watch a video. Max said, you wonder what your big sister's doing. He wept, he was just a leaky little faucet. Yeah, no Susan, you were born a baby, but your sister was born a dog. A dog? Susan asked. Can we be a dog, Daddy? No, our love. Well, Max made her a dog. She laughed, then tried sleeping. Hey silly. We gotta find out why the wicked won't tell us where the shape goes. Listen. We feel, it might be square, but if it's not, no, it's the fault of the blacktails, not yours. Daddy? Susan asked. Yes, our love, Max replied. We wish this was easier. Diamond walked over. Listen, baby. We struggled with this too when we were your age. All you can do is pray, become a dog aunt, intend or like purpose every dang hole until we get lucky. Life's all about luck, kid. Diamond said. She was a nice mom. Max loved her. She missed Cassie. Our friends were busy nowadays. With Max saving the world, it left everyone with a lot of free time. Diamond's hand guided Susan's circle didn't work, but square did. Susan laughed and clapped. Mommy, why didn't we have to intend or like purpose every hole? Will it fit in the last one too? Susan asked, so cute, so innocent, so mixed race. Well honey, we could cut the triangle, like another triangle, then it would fit. But, like your dad says, there's a time and place for everything, so we could, but it might make us sad. How come, Mommy? We don't intend or like purpose to make you and Daddy sad. Diamond picked up her kid and wept. They knew God didn't exactly like for beings to be called Dad, so they usually intended or like purposed for Susan to say Max, not Dad, but it was fine. What could be done? Well, think of it like this: if every shape looked or like felt the same, we'd be sad because there wouldn't be much variety to life. Oh. Duh. So. Susan knew, for she knew it all, but she was still so confused. Her mom picked her up and kissed her a lot. How about we go swimming, baby? Diamond said. She knew Susan was smart. Shapes were dumb anyway. How often did shapes come up in real life? There were shape celestials. Every celestial studied their thing forever and ever, unlike humans or like angels who were broader. Diamond laughed with her baby. Diamond made Max a nicer being. He usually would have just chilled on the beach, but he felt he should swim as his daughters. He saw Diamond as a daughter in a way. Wow! Diana just hooked a giant fish. Max knew psychically. Diamond got the info. Susan too. Nice for her. We just say hi to her later. Diamond said. She knew Max loved Diana, but she felt he might be too hard on her sometimes. We're dumb or like. I'm dumb, we feel like. It's nice for her to be alone or like with friends, but, you're right, we'll say hi to her later. How about now, Daddy? Diana said. Diana. Me and your mother were just talking about you. Good job on that effin' fish. Fuck bad people. Don't say effin' in front of kids. Okay, fuck you. We hope that was better. Tell me, was it worse than the ocean lighting man, the upside down one? Same level, but probably a little worse. They smiled and hugged and fist bumped. Legit. Wanna swim? Max replied. Sure. We brought our friends, Dad. Oh shiz. What's up, guys? Long time no FNC. How are we? Max said, excellent, sir. EFF shapes. They're pointless. Especially circles. They all laughed hard. Then swam. Kids, teen, adults, elders, flooded the speech. They named it after God. Max was too humble for all that. God's gold water, nice name. The heat was burning, the sky was blue, the clouds weren't there, the sand was tan, like diamond. Max was happy. But now we was always happy, but if we think about it, he was always happy. Max held his baby. She had a sphere in one hand and the holes in the other, and kept hitting the sphere on the square until it accidentally went in the circle. That's our little genius. We did it, Daddy. She hid her hand on her forehead. Oh, she smiled really big. blushed really hard, and had a million little light bulbs go off in her head at once. It's like, the circle goes. Oh my god, how obvious, but like so not obvious at the same time. She hugged her parents. You're a genius, just like your parents, baby, Max said. Proud dad. Diana held her little sister and put her on her shoulders. The camera swung and panned to the blue sky. The sun rang. Heat and cold. End of scene. Next chapter, yo. Chapter 4, Eliza's incredible inclusion of increments. Eliza the talking shirt was a character who swam with Max in the last book and gave him one of his favorite memories ever. Swimming with talking clothes in a heated pool in the snow, cannonballing off a roof, water flying in the air then landing back in the pool, laughing with friends and family. She was in a huge hedge maze. She bet Lacey, Eliza, and Joy, she could beat this maze in 10 minutes. She was moving like shirt lightning. She became a human being because she thought it'd be funny. She dashed through that maze like a rubber ball, or like an Etch-a-Sketch, or like a 3D film. She met talking rabbits with top hats, monocles, tux coats, tea, and a talking table, a talking chair, a talking potted rose, a talking sun, a talking moon, a talking turtle. They all were dressed like the rabbit. Eliza was so confident she didn't see any harm in taking a tea break. How are we, guys? So do you guys know the way out of here? Eliza asked. Sure. But what's the fun of that, dear talking shirt? We know you're smart enough to figure it out. Our advice. They talked with funny, fancy accents. Posh, British even. It's shaped kinda like a snake, or like a dragon, or like a worm, or like a shoestring. The talking chair finished. Obviously, she said in a silly way with a fake mustache on. It's just, we told our friends we'd finished in 10 minutes. Obviously, they all said with a quiet confidence. Well, you have to be fast like rabbits, a rabbit said with a wise, high-pitched, caring voice. And patient and strong like an elderly white-haired, Grandpa Tortoise. Grandpa Tortoise said. Thanks, guys. Well, don't be in a hurry, our child, we'll show you the way out, said the talking Sunday. Really? Eliza said. She was super happy. She had a big smile on her face and she was excited to finish this bet so she could get her $20. Of course, child, said the talking moon with a quiet confidence. In exchange for knowledge, that is, you know, knowledge is power. Finished the talking moon. This kinda reminded Eliza of Alice in Wonderland, Auron, Cora, and some other stuff we don't know. We're not her, we're Max. So, what's the best armor a talking table could wear? Well, it depends. If you want something professional, the silent suit increased stealth and is still sleek and stylish, but if you want something bulkier, the knight's table fits tables of all sizes, decreased movement adds to defense and is sturdy enough to last a lifetime. Eliza said. They all laughed. And Eliza, we're friends. We're not here to put you on trial. The tea gang went through the maze like lighting with tons of time to spare. Eliza cried, sweet woman. Thanks, guys. How can we repay you? Eliza said, crying a lot. She got on her knees to bow before them. Please just give King Max our nicest regards, oh, and that $20. Kidding. Unless. They all gave funny looks at each other. Duh. We'll give you your heart's weight in gold, we're just afraid you wouldn't know where to put so much gold. They cried and hugged. They went to the beach. Unlike fiction, in heaven, friends and family are forever. End of scene. Next chapter. Duh. Chapter 5, Toy Soldier Tanks. Tohiro was a little toy soldier alien. He was infinitely old, but he knew all there was to know about toy soldiers, guns, tanks, armies, and stuff like that. He was with Susan. Hi, Susan. We like that you're small. We're also small. When we're small, it makes the world around us seem much bigger, so Being small is kinda a blessing, Yano, smiley face, Tohiro said with quiet confidence. Susan, in this life, it'll seem like there's many contradictions. To counteract these contradictions, we know God never lies, but we also know what we know love's in our heart, so no one can take it out. God would make sure meanies never knew niceness, but conversely, he would let the nice know they'll never be hurt. Tohiro said. He became a tall man with hairy arms, a beard, brown hair, bushy eyebrows, and hugged and kissed Susan. Thank Tohiro. We intended or like purposed a real, experienced soldier to tell our daughter that while war is an invention of the wicked, we can still live happy, peaceful live. Max said. He sounded happy and proud of his daughter and friend. Of course, Max. It's a pleasure and honor to be with the man who saved Dark Mirror from Satan. Tohiro said with a scruffy, quiet, nice, and confident voice. The thing was, this world wasn't necessarily digital, it was more magical, but that was surely a way to see it. Susan, we know it's a contradiction, but sometimes, war makes peace. We know it sounds crazy, but when God died, it was like a war in his mind. But you know what? Tajay said with a nice, neat, swell, polite, cool, kind tone. He won. The Lord Sabaoth, the commander of heaven's armies, won. But not with hatred or like weapons or like violence, but with like love, but love for his own enemies, so they were so ashamed they left the righteous alone forever. Susan said. Infinity was in that voice, surely and truly the daughter of the true God of heaven, not necessarily Max's daughter, but he was glad to be her dad for sure. So true, Susan. Goo goo. Goo goo. Goo goo. Tajay kissed her, hugged her, and made a lot of silly baby noises with her, then said, "You ready, Max?" he said with quiet confidence. Of course. Max replied. He grabbed his baby, gave her some hugs and kisses and reassurances, then gave her to her mom. Love you girls. We'll be back, we're gonna go kick butt. Please be careful, husband. Love you, man. Later. Diamond said in a royal, elegant, kind, nice voice. They made out a little, then Max and Tajay vanished. They were in a town, black and white. The NPCs were silhouettes: white, black, brown, red, white, even blue. The smoke from weapons was white, the buildings were outlined, it looked like neon. God bless Diana, we love her notion of color, we just feel black and white looks nicer, neater, sweller, cooler, and all that. Max could send only the littlest missiles. But they packed a nice big punch. Poor Max. He intended or like purposed for kids to know life was about fun, not who was the strongest, for it was God anyway. God proved the same thing by dying. Max was hit by what looked like his own move, his life bar went down about 1/8. What the, he thought to himself. Look, we're not the strongest, but like, that looked just like our own attack. Max loved Little Toy Soldiers by Eminem. He also loved Till I Collapse, which started playing for the heroes to hear, not the villains. A mirror. What was a mirror doing in a battlefield? Max called in a favor and a loud shriek broke the glass of the mirror. His life bar went all the way down. The glass was clear though, for we suppose clear isn't a color. Thanks, audio. Don't mention it, buddy. Hey Max. Let's hear some poetry, huh? Sure. Under the lightning, snowy, icy, drowning sun, under the snowing, angelic, icy, snowing, angelic, icy, icy, snowy, drowning, angelic, icy, icy, snowing, angelic, icy, icy, snowing, angelic, storming sun, under the angelic, icy, icy, lightning, no less angelic, vein, snowing, angelic, vein, vein, drowning, raining, loving, icy, icy, snow, angels, ice, ice, snow, storms, 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 angels, ice, 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 snow, storms, angels, ice, 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 sun. Nice, man. Well, call if you need me again. Just Yano. They both said, probably for mirrors. They laughed a lot. Something like that, love you, man. Bye. They both hugged. Max said his partings, then audio left. Max let out a pretty loud shriek, not from his mouth but aura. It rattled the blacktails a bit, for they knew he didn't have audio powers. No, he had them all, just he intended or like purposed to make sure that mirror became a reflective dust so bright, so mean, so nice, so refined, so fine, it scratch any mirror's surface so hard it became transparent or like translucent or like opaque or like two mirrors or like God bless Amaranth. Max was hit by two Blacktail, Shadowtail, God bless Anya and Furiosa, toy soldiers on roofs. His life bar was going down. He conjured a potion that reminded him of an elf man, sword man, drank it, then his life bar went up, but wouldn't go down for a minute. He spun like an elegant ice skater, ballerina kinda of thing. It wasn't really him. During this attack he transformed into an infinitely long pole that flashed like planets or like supernovae or like lightning bolts of fire or like ice or like snow angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice ice. This sent ice everywhere, the size of a bead but the power of a bullet, fire beads, electric beads, his gauge filled. Max conjured gas masks for the fellow toy sodders. He pulled what looked like a grenade's pin from a grenade, but in reality it was a smoke light spike infinity physical, intangible, blacktail fucking eliminator. The miasma shot through then like white or like purple beams of light that were touchable but not at the same time. It shot out in many different directions like a spike ball. It couldn't hurt his friends, but it had an awful, poisonous, gaseous, poisonous, 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 poisonous smell. Everyone was left with such a low life bar. The men of his army let out a loud war cry and finished them like bullets from ice guns, fire guns, electric guns, etc. The construction aliens who helped with the Golden Hotel from the last book came, fixed up the town, and handed out rations and supplies to the NPC townsfolk. Good job, team. Tajay told his fellow soldiers. They sat just outside the town in lawn chairs drinking sodas, eating burgers, fries, and smoking ice cigarettes, fire cigarettes, etc. We intend or like purpose to especially thank Max for his efforts, Audio, Tojaro, Tojuro, and all of our men who helped put an end to the attack on this little coal mining village in the Midwest. Well men, to the beach. Tohiro said with loud confidence. His voice was like the quiet confidence of Gatling guns. You could hear every war, every bullet wound, every flashbang, in his voice. A tough, weathered, shield of a man. Not to be confused with Shield Joro, haha. It was hot, there was tons of food, kids having fun, young or like preteen, teens, adults, elders. The water was cold. Huobaby. Max said to Susan in a silly, goofy tone. How was the mission? We hope it went well. You're not hurt, right? Acting right. Diamond said with a big OL smile. When we got hurt, we just acted, for there was no pain in heaven. They made out a little. They were in the ocean with their little baby. It was okay. We feel like Audio was the real MVP. Max said he knew Diamond loved Audio. We love Audio. Aw, what was it like, a mirror? Diamond asked in a nice, cute, kind tone. Yes ma'am. You are so knowledgeable and smart. You remember when Audio had his fight on Dark Mirror? Max said. He knew she remembered. We never saw so much broken glass in one place. Yeah. The broom aliens worked overtime that day. They laughed and made out. They kissed their daughter. Good job, Daddy. You made Mommy proud, so we're proud of you. Susan said. Children were so mean. LOL, no, she was okay, just a little misled, inherent to kids of course. Silly. Susan. Please don't talk to Daddy like that, or no lollipops. Max said. Susan cried. She didn't know before, but now she knew. Susan. Daddy makes us happy all the time. Where on earth did you learn to talk like that, silly? You listen to Daddy and Mommy, okay? Susan cried and hugged her parents. Then her mouth was filled with lollipops, her parents kissed her cheeks, then the screen closed like a black circle on Susan's cute, round face, then went to close the circle to all black. End of scene. Next chapter. Chapter 6, Diamond's designer directions. Well, you'll have to watch Susan, cause you know we have a fashion show. You'll be there, right? Diamond asked. She cried. She hugged Max and rubbed his fat tummy. She'd miss him. Susan misinterpreted her mom's tears. It's not cause Dad hated her, it's because she loved him a lot. Happy tears, really? Of course. Well, if you need our little genius, we'll be building sandcastles, or something like that. Max put fake mustaches on him, Susan, and Diamond. There was still making out in heaven, cause God was cool like that. If you don't think so, that's cool, man. To us, yes. Obviously. Fucking obviously. If you're just a jerk about it, fuck you, Cool. Anyway. Max loved Diamond, so no one was going to tell him he couldn't kiss his own wife. They made out again and hugged tightly, closely, and lovingly. They stopped and smiled at each other for 2 seconds, then Diamond vanished. Well, baby. Max lifted Susan up and down. Susan cried. She missed her mom. Max's friends came to give them company. Max fed Susan broccoli, a sandwich, crackers, cheese, and a milk on the beach. Then she was happy, but she still missed Mom. Max kissed his baby for 2 seconds on the forehead, then the scene changed to Diamond at the backstage of a prestigious fashion show. Hey everyone. We just intend or like purpose to say from the bottom of our heart, thanks for taking part in our fashion show. We stayed up long nights, though we know there's no sleep in heaven, but we all love to sleep. Everyone laughed. It was the fashion aliens. Eliza, Lacey, Eliza, Joy, Max, a lovely pair of pants other Max met at the pool, and Jason were there. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into these designs. Thank you for your constant and unending support, love, kindness, niceness, neatness, prayers, inspiration. Diamond said. She was so happy. Max would have been glad to hear it. He was showing Susan how to play volleyball whilst she questioned why the net wasn't lower, the court wasn't smaller, and why Daddy himself was not a huge edible, chocolate volleyball. Diamond wept. She missed her family. We're your family too, Mrs. Rainbow Call. No offense. We all love Max and Susan. But we know it'll cheer you up to hear your husband and baby will be here for the actual show. A talking clothes rack said, but he was gay, and a human being, man, he's called Racky. God loved gays. Max never knew what the Christians were on about. Diamond wiped her tears. Thanks, Racky. You are the nicest, neatest, kindest, most generous clothes rack we've met, no offense to the other clothes racks here. Diamond said incredulously but with love and kindness. The other clothes racks motioned to let everyone know they weren't offended. You got the biggest rack, if you know what we mean. Diamond said, and everyone laughed, and Racky shook his chest as a joke and everyone laughed and copied him. Well guys. The show's in half an hour, it'll take about 20 minutes to show all our new designs. This isn't our first rodeo, friends. Look fabulous. Elegant. Majestic. Powerful. Empowered. Magical. Happy. Make sure we eat. Like our cute dear baby Susan. Mommy gave her broccoli, a sandwich, crackers, cheese, and a nice, tasty, nutritious, delicious, bone-strengthening, healthy, happy, filling, cooling milk. Racky said, you are our mother, Diamond. You are the best mom ever and we love you. We wish we could give birth, but we love our trans friends like some of the members of our loving, kind, wonderful, self-empowered, and self-motivated team. They all cheered and clapped. Thank you, Racky. They kissed each other on the cheeks. Okay folks. Let's start getting ready. Diamond yelled with joy, pride, love, kindness, love for Susan, love for Max, but most importantly love for God. Everyone walked around hurriedly, a lot of the models made their way to the food table, people were checking the lengths of clothes to make sure they were just right, making sure their chairs looked organized and neat, they checked the lighting, made sure the cameras were ready to live stream, and Diamond called her family. Hi guys. We're just getting ready to do the big show. It'll be soon. Will you be here? Kidding. Obviously, but like, can you come early? Diamond asked. She cried, she missed them a lot. Sure thing kiddo. We can go right now if you want. Max asked, he felt bad for her and cried. She with red teary eyes nodded with difficulty through grief, and Max and Susan appeared. They hugged and made out. Eventually the fashion show started. The Celestials showed off some of the cutest, prettiest, most beautiful designs you ever saw. Max loved Diamond and he was happy for her. Good job mommy, Susan said. Susan was wearing a dress Diamond designed. It was blue with flowers on it, and diamonds. Susan was born of her mother, but babies weren't made like that anymore. Max loved his daughter, but he had some shame. Did he love her more because she was born from him and his wife? Max didn't miss sex, but he felt bad for anyone reading this who couldn't quite understand why there wasn't marriage in heaven. So he dedicated this next chapter to them. Chapter 7, Mostly Marriage. Diamond's fashion show went really well. People clapped, the designs were nice, Susan enjoyed the whole thing a lot. Some of the dresses or like designs had real fire, real ice, real electricity, apples, oranges, grapes. Diamond even made a dress with tears, basically to poke fun at the fact she cried a lot cause she missed her husband a lot. Diamond was, not to be weird, a real woman to Max. She always held her mistakes against her. In a way this was Max's wife, even though there wasn't sex, that made her more his wife because it proved he wasn't just with her for sex. Max loved her a lot. She wasn't always her nicest, to her, to meanies, she just had her off days. Days where she didn't want to be around anyone, days where she liked to be more alone than she maybe should be, days where she felt not pretty even though she was honestly really pretty. Max still pitied her a lot though. It was hard to say why, it was kind of a secret, but the fact still stood. Even on her meanest days he was still there for her. He missed her when she was gone. He prayed a lot for her and for all his friends. Diamond got some of the most talented musicians to play at her fashion show, rap, pop, indie pop. It was a nice, neat, good, and great time. He cared about her. She felt like he blamed her when we was anxious or like depressed. Things would scare her that she just didn't understand. But he knew she meant well. And he'd helped her through it. She sometimes felt like it was impossible to stop being anxious. It was impossible to stop being anxious. Max thought while watching the fashion show. Anything's possible, Diamond. He loved her. To stop being anxious isn't just knowing the last thing, the most important thing in a thought process that stop anxiety, and that's what she taught him. When the anxiety stopped and she knew the difference between anxiety and depression, and Max liked that about her. Anxiety was kind of a cool word, like that Logic song. She loved Max a lot. She missed sex, we're sure, but there was nothing they could do about that. There was no sex in heaven and we knew God was right about that. Max pitied her though. For example, beings would always tell him it's I not we, stupid. Sorry if you ever told us that. No, we don't agree. We is a more beautiful, open-ended word. We love the word we. Isn't it kind of hypocritical? If we don't say we should never say it. We don't know. It can also be really offensive to not say we, but beings don't think of that because they're too obsessed with I. Well, since they like it so much. I don't care, they're coincidentally right, that's it. Anyway, the fashion show had a disco ball, smoke, laser lights, people smiled, laughed, sang, danced. It made her happy, Max pitied her. She never had an easy life, she complained too much, but you know what? She was right. Gays, bi, gender fluid, pansexual, all went to heaven, this. She knew. But her church always said it wasn't true. She had a hard time with discernment, disassociation, projecting, humor, everything, but through all her flaws Max loved her. She smoked still, she drank still, but it was okay, she didn't know what she was doing, so Max pitied her, he loved her. When we love people, even if they don't talk to us, even if they sleep all day, even if we wish they were better, we help them, because of things they did. We don't flatter, not things they're doing, but things they did, things no one can take away. If someone does a lot of good, but stops, the good things they do aren't undone. They're just left there, unlike what meanies say. You're just like us now. But you can't undo the nice things human beings do, they're there, you can't change the past. But you can change your future. Her biggest flaw, he felt, was comparing herself to beings who she wasn't comparable to. They didn't make compelling arguments, they weren't smart, but she felt they were. She felt. We made it to heaven because we're a woman. It's not anything nice we did. How fucking dumb. Fucking unfortunately women didn't always make it to the fucking, pearly fucking, so offensive, but for what? That's how far gone she was sometimes. Max pitied her, she didn't even realize how inappropriate this be to say in public, but he pitied her still. It was more okay to say in public than she thought. Diamond loved the word we. Max was mad at her. Elizabeth also wasn't being very nice, but to cheer her up, he intended or purposed to write her a story, but, when he opened the book he saw his wife's fashion show, he was mad, he didn't want to finish it, but he missed her, and ya know what, from reading one probably couldn't even tell he was mad at her. That's what he was intending or purposing to tell her. It didn't matter. Then what? Meanies say. Oh, it's not you. What do the wicked know of the words of the kind? But still he was patient with her. She was a woman, and that wasn't nothing. Often we did help women and children in a special way, unlike men. But the same way there were an infinite amount of women in heaven, there were an infinite amount of men. The order matters there. It's offensive because meanies are the ones who said it, the very same ones who read the last few words we've written. Things weren't offensive just 'cause they were offensive, say the wicked. They were offensive because they were easily offended, wanted to be offended by nice, neat, swell, polite, good, great things. They were raising a child. By this point Max thought he'd be talking about an NPC couple who had sex, but he was happier with what he'd written so far, kind words to his wife to remind her she was still a nice, neat, good, and great person. She had a beautiful face, perfect teeth, a beautiful smile, a nice pretty forehead, long well-kept hair. Her tresses were logs in waters in tears of the kingdom. Her tresses were rows of stars shaped like sushi at a sushi bar. Her tresses were the children she bore. He pitied her. She wouldn't always believe it, they'd fight, they'd argue. But she'd just do it 'cause she thought it was trendy, cool, everyone did it. But when she looked back in her more honest moments, whether she was nice or even mean, she knew it wasn't Max's fault. If she was mean it was her fault, but even if she was mean it was still the wicked's fault, because a mean beings can be forgiven but not a wicked one. Pure heroin by Lord was like actual heroin, am I right? There's that word the wicked love so much. Ribs is an anthem about not intending or purposing to grow older, wanting an education, but a more worthwhile one that lead to joy, not a boring office job, where we were bombarded by the constant incessant tones or rings of office supplies, keys clacking, printers humming, phones ringing, indistinct chatter like the echoes of the purgatory of our mind. Clock out, drive home, no Bible, no love, no church, no religion, no spirituality, no Christianity, no preaching, no pulpit, no baptisms, but secular suffocation, no spiritual sophistication, but overly sexual solicitation, no solid solidification, said Diamond. Max loved her. He truly liked it. She was insecure about her smarts, her knowledge, but she was a lot like this book. Beings might not like the way we talk, but again, imagine if we never said we. Diamond was the same. She felt dumb for not saying I, not we, but those beings were hypocrites. At the end of the day, she was a smart, cute, charming, honest, kind woman. When we lets the indistinct chatters of ghostly infidelity creep in our brains, the only step left is to hate a sensible quote like no solid solidification, but the polar opposite was true as well. To Christians there was no alliteration, rhyming, music, shows, movies. It has to be Christian or it just isn't nice or like need. No cursing. Talk about Noah's Ark. Talk about Moses. But don't talk about Solomon's wives or like Uriah or like the more offensive parts of the Bible. Diamond knew, so she was smarter than the world, and the church, and there was no one else. She loved the day, but Max loved night. She felt wrong for not agreeing, but this was a subjective matter. When she didn't feel pretty, she'd exaggerate till she believed it. The thing is, the appearance is not all that matters. But for a woman, it makes more sense. For example, St. James writes, the one with no faith looks in a mirror, but forgets what they look like when they look away. A man utterly looking at a mirror all the time, to us, is disgraceful. But a woman, she does makeup for what? Hours, maybe not after her makeup's done, maybe a little, like men look at themselves a little, but hours was a long time compared to 0 seconds, 0 minutes, 0 hours, 0 days, 0 weeks. Max's friends would get it. Diamond's friends from the beach. We all are special, we're all smart. Don't let anyone tell you when you rapture or like say something exciting it wasn't, when everything faith, and nothing's really provable. Raptures, excitement, faith, hope, and love, are all we have. Mostly marriage. Max's alliteration. Diamond loved it a lot, and he loved her again. This chapter was going to be two NPCs who were married to talk about sex because again, there's no sex in heaven. Max did feel, he hated to say it, but he felt like this was mostly a marriage. It was mostly good, it was mostly great, or that's how Diamond felt he saw it, but this was marriage. They loved each other and this chapter cheered her up a lot. It's all he asked for, his friends too. We say this because the chapter's now over. That's how much things can change, but when they change, let them change, because change fosters growth, and growth fosters love, true love, which is never broken. True love's kiss is a common theme in media of Earth. We don't know about generations before us, but probably, Max loved probably in Diamond's funny tone, when we feel true love's kiss, every spell. Every spell. Diamond said. Every spell, they both said together, is broken. End of chapter. God bless Paper Mario. Next chapter please. Chapter 8, Chimney Children. All the main characters from the last book became toddlers. They started telling each other jokes. Oak said okay, so a tree walks into a bar. Gets hammered, leaves and gets in his car. The car turns upside down, a giant fake mustache gets put on it. It's Mario's mustache. Then he tells us all how awesome he is. We bow down, and we become Mario. Hilarious, insightful, funny, cute. Okatha said, who by this point was technically a very old leafer. A giant fake mustache, might be real, humble, sweeps the street, it gets drunk, quits his job, joins the circus, burns all his hair off, and he was secretly a hand-sized mustache this whole time. He gets married to a lady mustache, they have a baby and the baby's so small they forgive his dad for lying about being a big mustache. Comedy. Snowball said so a giant fake mustache had a hard life, was insecure about their jokes, thought humor wasn't everything, they were fucking wrong. They became the biggest comedian in the world, skydived into a volcano, and tons of hand-sized fake mustaches shoot out, the atoms drown in it, they become mustaches, and they lied. They were actually all smooshed and put together to make the big fake mustache from the other joke. Nice. Not bad at all. Joy said so. A giant fake mustache works an office job, he quits to pursue interpretive dance, he headlines Madison Square Garden. Vegas. LA. Eventually he quits it all to grow mustache plants in his humble backyard. A nice house but not that big. When he eats it, he gets high, gets the munchies, and eats all the food in his fridge. He goes back to dance and is accepted everywhere and beings really welcome his comeback. He made enough to fill his fridge again. Barely, 'cause he spent the rest on books on how not to spend almost all one's money on almost not filling their fridge after accidentally eating all their food for the week in a day 'cause they got high. Funny. Max appreciated them, but on a more serious note. Humor is a worthwhile, but difficult, and precarious endeavor. Max didn't know it at first, but he wrote this in pity to his friends who kept comparing his baby to Stewie. At first they didn't mean anything by it, they even made it a little woman not man, but we'll be the first to say we're not the biggest fan of Family Guy. We feel it's inappropriate, crude, rude, mean, and just indescribably bad. Evil. Fucking, we try to get along, it had its moments we guess, but it's not good and in a way it has never had a moment. Max didn't even think of comparing this to Family Guy at first, but he noticed toddlers talking about alcohol. Idiots will still be offended, then act dumb when they realize these are actually infinitely old beings. That makes all the difference. Family Guy has lots of problems. The kid is way too young, mocks the overweight, women, Christians, Muslims, Jews, the disabled, church, the Bible, kindness, love, hope, faith. It's shameful to think such a disgraceful show, or like any fucking show like it, is really appropriate to watch. We plan to have the kids slowly age over time, but we feel this made a really nice point, so we'll leave it there. God bless. Anyway. Fuck all, man. Fuck all. Anyway. God bless again. Much love. And next scene please. Chapter 9, Anime Action. Anime is the ultimate form of pop culture. Anime is in a tier all its own over pop culture. Anime is inspiration itself, a fire unwilling to be doused by any kind of snow or like ice or like water. When we watch anime, we watch ourselves, for true inspiration falls like snow, flowers grow in the soil of our heart when we see a great fight scene. An interestingly animated scene like the red blue light, L scenes from Death Note, when we feel like we're in the class, hugging the girl, breathing ice fire or like ice smoke or like smoking ice smoke from ice whoopee pens, the comfort of friendship will never be outweighed by the weight of anxiety or like depression. Heaven was like one big dream. Sometimes, as we mentioned, black tails aren't too ugly, but can look normal and even cool. This is the story of a high-speed chase across the galaxy, planet-sized black tails, Ashley's Hunger, Niagara the Face Miss Celestial, a black and white kind of rainbow road, an actual rainbow road. Full credit to Mario Kart, explosions, and on a seriously somber and kind note, rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Max. Bad news. Some planet-sized black tails are reported to be making a serious ruckus and commotion over Dark Mirror. We have to stop them. Kyle said. Kyle was a drill alien all called Kamina from Gurren Lagann. Preston, or Simone, was his brother, also from Gurren Lagann. Shit. Well, let's go. Max replied. They were at the beach. Space was black and white, such a bleak, ugly place this was. But so pretty at the same time. They were standing on a light road, black and white, it was tessellated with patterns of dragons and ouroboroses. There were very intricate and beautiful animations that flickered on it like a hologram. Racer was there, their friend, an infinitely old, infinitely young, race car. He ran on liquid light. Why, he was born a mere Hot Wheel if you can believe it. We gotta hurry, man. They're almost here. Racer said. We know it's space, but bear with us, the blacktails were coming into view, and fast. They were going to lead them away and try to eliminate them. Max and Kyle jumped into Racer. He became the slickest, sleekest race car you ever done saw. They started bolting super fast. The road was materializing under them, but eventually it became visible and the blacktails were trying to break it, but Racer was so fast he could essentially fly over the gaps in the road. Max and Kyle got on Racer when they were close to the blacktails and started their attack. Max sent lightning bolts, not much damage, but the blacktails got scared and so put up electric shields. What Max lacked in physical power he made up for in strategizing, intimidation tactics, fear tactics, and wisdom. Kamina sent some huge drills at them. This sent their life bars down a really nice amount. Just then another road appeared next to them. There was a blacktail shaped like a race car with blacktails shaped like men shooting AK-47s at them. They had to use force fields and jump, but there wasn't much room to dodge. Racer wasn't very large and they didn't intend or like purpose to fall off. Suddenly when we called in reinforcements, the blacktails copied us. They had the same amount of beings as us, but now they weren't just humans, they were trees, tables, spoons, forks. Fuck these motherfuckers honestly. Ashley was there. She sent huge torrents of water at the blacktails, huge cylindrical water currents at them. They did some serious damage and their life bars decreased. Our friend Niagara came for emotional support. They were in Rakura. Racer sister. She was a face mist alien. She was able to increase Ashley's power, but like the clothes aliens, makeup aliens didn't specialize in combat. The blacktails were so big, they didn't even have to like move. But like, it's open-ended for a reason, a nice one. Fucking, gravity didn't work as usual or we would have been sucked into their gravitational pull. Look guys. Max started. We feel like we're going to have to somehow get on these blacktails. Max thought of it like dominoes. If we took the smaller ones out, the big ones would obviously soon follow. Alex had to use her pistol because the blacktails had electric shields up. God damn it. Their life bars are hardly going down. We need to make sure they keep away from Earth. Alexandra said. Do moons count as planets? XD, we love the concept but man. Anyway. Lindsay sent huge sequoias at the moon or like planet-sized blacktails. Their life bars were going down, but it looked like they'd need a miracle to get this done. We have an idea, said Niagara with a quiet confidence. We might be able to make one drown Ash. If we turn their friends to water they might drown, like, not actually but like, they'll feel bad for their friends so they'll pretend to drown to eulogize them, then the others will see it drowning, and get scared. Niagara felt bad that she wasn't trained in combat, but she loved her life. She liked Ashley a lot and they even knew each other while Max was on Dark Mirror. After the women left the beach, the aliens greeted them to comfort them in the fact life wasn't always about fighting but equally about helping those who fight. No sarcasm, no unnecessary use of the word do or like italics for the sake of italics, but true, pure, watery, Niagara love. Eliza was in the passenger seat with Niagara. She put a water-light dress on Ash. Niagara sprayed her with a special mist that sprayed light rose petals, light thorns, and lightning bolts. She put thorns in it, which was the first time she did this. To meanies, no, it was symbolic or like metaphorical, but anyway she had a rubber duck made of light or like something. She just missed her duck a lot and loved water. The Fire by Eden started playing on Rakura's radio. There were many roads, and many racers of all kinds on both sides of the indifferent coin. Ashley turned one of the cars and its riders into water, then sent it like watery lightning in a planet's mouth. It pretended to drown, but it happened so fast the other planets didn't realize he was lying. When they thought he was serious, he thought he was serious, then actually just effing conked out right then and there. One planet down. 9 to go. They were fighting intensely. Tables were so hard to the fist. Max lit a table on fire, then threw it at a car, and it careened off the road and fell like lightning to the bottom of the universe, where it blew up, or like it might have went through the bottom of the universe through the top and kept going like that. Perhaps the universe had no edge, but Max felt it was unlikely. Max was hit by a fireball so hard he had to hang on to Racer from where the window went down. Racer pushed his window up so hard it popped Max back on the roof. Kyle screamed. "This time you goddamned motherfuckers are fucking finished, no." Kyle screamed. "That was redundant, you effin' meffin' b-word a word firm fur," screamed the planet. "Not quite like that, but we had a heart." Kyle summoned a planet-sized drill that fucked that man all the way upwards. It was slow on its head, then shot like lightning down. 8 left. Preston followed suit. He did the same thing. His drill was covered in fire, water, miasma, electricity, midnight cities, snow-clad charcoal mountains with cloud rings around the summit, abstract disappearing laser wands, upside-down philosophies, copies of God, crosses, Bibles, churches, but most importantly, love. It's time you goddamn die. This ends. No. Ah. Ah. Ag. 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 Preston clasped his hands together and brought them down so fiercely and convincingly the drill fell like lightning. Then we perhaps blew up at the edge of eternity. Elizabeth was there. She had a friend called Elizabeth. They both sent fire mirrors at a planet that bounced like a game of lightning pong, or like upside-down swimming pools, or like skydiving, freediving into a pool from the top of eternity, or like charades, or like mimes, or like paintings blowing up like the forevers of the fiery, blazing, luminous, ember, burning, volcanic, magma, lava, heated, reflective heart of the soul's deepest wet spirit, but wet with the fires of the wettest, firest fire. It surrounded the planet with a vortex, or like spiral, or like helix of fire that became a huge fiery hollow sphere that engulfed it with unhollow fires. The ashes fell like lightning to the bottom of the universe. They high-fived and hugged. Max was a proud dog in that moment, let us tell ya. They hugged. They looked kinda similar too. They sat and waited for everyone else to take the rest of the planets out. They planned to join again, but that attack used all their magic power. They ate some sandwiches. Ashley stole their sandwiches and they argued for a bit. Dummies. Max made some more sandwiches for them as there were no food aliens around. Max's cage would probably be filled by the last planet. A Beiju made huge wings that sent such a hard gust at a planet, it fought long and hard, screaming, being gross, silhouetted. The feathers came off like broken glass, or like ripped Bibles, or like broken churches, or like fireballs, or like bubbles that blew up so hard they disoriented the planet. It lost its grip on space and time and flew away and hit the side of the universe like lightning. It blew up and fell like snow, or like glitter, or like rainbows on the iridescent, effervescent, luminescent, crystal-shaped heart of God. Another way we can think of this is the roads spiraling around a planet. So we meant like just really big, but metaphors help us understand and know ourself. We'd teleport and fight. Susan wasn't there 'cause people were cursing, but Yano, we don't like fucking Yano. If some people curse around kids, we don't judge, man, we get it, fuck judgy people. Angel hit a planet with another huge ice planet. She's come so far. Good job, Aang. The planet got a brain freeze. Listen. Started the planet. If you people stop, we'll leave the dark mirror alone and go back to the galaxy we come from. Bullshit, replied Ang. We weren't born yesterday, AI. She made ice, snowy blizzards blow from inside the planet like a spike, or like webs, or like unconnected dots. Eventually the whole planet froze over. How'd you know we were lying? It said with a breath that was passing away like a breeze. It's simple. You're shallow. Like, why were you going in the first place? Why'd you mock your sizes? Why have you never done the right thing? Angel said. We suppose it was obvious, wasn't it? He replied. His life bar emptied, then he fell like lightning to the bottom of the universe, the underworld, the grave, Sheol, a place of bones, or like fucking death, or like fucking decay. 4 left. Hadika and Hadley were riding in Speedara, Racer's other sister. They had a big family. On top was of course Angel and baby Susan. People decided to stop cursing so the baby could come. She was held by Angel because her mom was late. Poor Diamond, she was weary of Susan going. It was just a game. Attica put a hat on Susan made of the finest materials, the side of a cosmic, celestial, galactic, interstellar, astral, spiritual, religious, rainbow rain caused by a black tail hitting the side of the universe. That was King of Ages BT dubs. Hadika was a nice, kind, awesome woman. This was written International Women's Day by the way, so God bless. She loved clothing and had many successful clothing lines. She specialized in comfort and style, but was no stranger to armor and making babies stronger. She gave Susan a triangle sandwich and a few slices of a green apple. Susan's mouth watered at the thought. Angel held Susan up, and Susan, with a fierce, angry, silly, goofy, cute, and small face, extended her arms like her mom and sent shapes at the black tail. She knew where the shapes went, and Max was never prouder. Max was handling the riders because the planets were too big to hurt. Susan also hit the riders. Sorry, we forgot to mention. She wasn't going to hurt the giants too much. The Blacktails laughed at their member who was hit by the smallest baby the side of a very successful talking hat, Hadika, but God bless Hadley, it's just Yano, we were talking about Hadika, so no offense, we don't really know why we'd be talking about Hadley, but it's a test Yano, so if you said no or dumb both or like all or like one, cause this test is fucking stupid, you know what, you pass. Diamond kissed her daughter and knocked many cars off the path. They fell like lightning to the bottom of nowhere, or like everywhere, or like anywhere, or like she used Yano, fire hula hoops. The Blacktails were being inappropriate because she had to charge them by hula hooping, but you know what, fuck em. Hula hooping was one of Diamond's favorite things. She loved to do it with Susan, and Max also loved to join and watch in a not fucking weird way cause that's his wife. There were still 4 left. Hadley wept. She didn't know if Aang had enough magic power for another huge attack. It's okay. Aang peeked her head while sitting on the roof. They were going about 900 miles per hour. They held hands. You are awesome. Thanks for helping us out. We heard you make the best shoes and gloves anyone can find. When this is over, do you think you could shoot a pair? Aang asked with a smile. Such a nice, sweet woman. Max loved her and she did good defeating that planet. Thank you. Hadley said with a soft smile. We suppose you're going to trade out for someone else. Hadley said, feeling a lot more optimistic and hopeful. She was sad cause she was going to miss Ang. But she didn't know it. We took acting seriously, we could have suspended belief and had them hug, but this fast. Plus, we were never hurt. We only acted hurt, so sticking to realism, they were really best friends. They talked a little more and Angel left. Angel was replaced by Orchestra, a music alien. Hi Speedara. First and foremost, we'd love to thank you for your steady and accurate driving during this difficult and trying test. Second, we love your hair. We saw how you look. So tall, skinny, with beautiful curly black long hair. Thanks. Have you seen Death Note? Speedara replied. We have. We feel it really captures the themes of suspense, mystery, thriller, justice, power, control, and love and romance. Orchestra, pronounced orc, replied. Right. We just. Speedara wept, but we couldn't see the pain of being a car. We intend or like purpose to watch it when we get back if you want. But we totally agree, no offense. Speed said. None taken. We have a bit of time, not much, but Yano, no offense. Orchestra said. No, yeah, we just wanted to say you're right and we feel it's the best anime ever and yeah, love you, God bless, good luck. Speed said fast and funnily. Thanks. Orchestra replied. She blushed, she thought Speed was funny, a lot like her brother. Orchestra summoned a huge orchestra that played behind her while they raced. The Blacktails kept yelling insults and flinging magic powers, but they deflect them with their instruments. This is the end for you, you big ol ugly motherfucker. Susan and Diamond had left by now, no cursing around the baby. They were with Max actually. This was Orchestra talking. How dare you fucking ask why we know you're mean? It's obvious, if you're not nice. You're mean. You mean ol rude son of a fucking impolite motherfucker. Orchestra finished strongly and hilariously. How dare you speak to us like that, Orchestra? We even know who you are, our kind have hurt the music aliens so much, but you still dare to say such insolent nonsense to us? This is the end of your orchestra, the planet said. That wasn't even fucking clever. Orchestra replied. The orchestra sent relatively fast-moving music notes at the monster that, while beautiful while traveling, became disharmonious, ugly sounds when they landed that were so loud and calculated to discombobulate it screamed in pain. Music staffs wrapped around it like stars or like comets or like rings or like drunken sounds of the syncopated orchestral halo. It blacked out, its life bar dropped, and it fell like lightning and hit the bottom of the universe with a symphonic sound. Spectacular. 3 left. Shield Joro sent beams of a sun alien at a planet like a mirror from Zelda, and it burned straight through it. The Blacktail wished he'd brought sunglasses, but he left them at home, kidding. Anyway. Fucking, it sent shields that flew like boomerangs that created hugely loud resounding sounds, not loud enough to be painful, but loud enough to be heard for sure. How can something made to defend offend, said the Blacktail. You were made to defend God, but you're being offensive as hell. Shield screamed. In fact, he continued. He sent shields that were round at the planet like lightning bolts, but blue lightning that were so cold they could defend anyone. The planet choked on the smoke, intending to deflect the shields, but lost his hands in the process. Stop. Please. We'll do anything, just please stop, the planet said. Repent, Shield replied. Anything but that, the planet said. It sounded like he was surely having a mean, rude, impolite time. Then to goddamned hell with you, you fucking son of a bitch. Shield yelled, weary of Diamond's fury. He sent such a huge shield it cut the planet in half horizontally, but because of gravity the halves fell lopsided like a hologram, intersecting like dark mirror, then fell like lightning to the bottom of the universe, where it blew up or like became like ice or like snowstorms. Angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice ice. 2 left. Max had to remind Diamond to be nicer, but he appreciated her intentions. She was just mad. She might let one slip around the kid, but it was in the past. She still held it against her though. Max's gauge was almost filled. Oak used crown shyness to intensify light beams on a planet like a magnifying glass. Upside down lighting storms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice 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 surrounded the planet. He used giant vines to break the surface of the planet like an earthquake. One question, how many people have you hurt? Oak yelled, crying, red, angry, resolved, stern, unmoving, appreciable, joyous, happy tears. Really? Why should we answer or like even know that? Countless. That's just a wild guess though. You drunken fool. You remind of us of a man who proclaimed to know all the secrets of God, a man to claim to be a great philosopher. But in the end he was no man. He was a sham, a damned sham. Nobody and fucking filth, just like Yoa. Oak screamed, he had had it. The vines crushed the planet. The whole scene was black or like white. The planet was black, the background was white. Damn, it said, while fucking passing away. It then fell to the bottom of forever, where it spawned from like goddamn hell spawn it was. Max's gauge filled. What does this pathetic, puny, weakling Max want? We've heard so much about you, how you were so great. How you were so strong. You don't seem so strong to us. You seem like nothing, less than nothing. If trash like you were in our trash can, we'd be offended. The king of the planets. Said. You sure damn talk a lot for someone who has nothing to say. Max used his gauge field to send such a huge light beam at the planet it enveloped the whole thing and became ash. This was weird. Max's gauge wouldn't go down. You did it, buddy. Listen, we feel like you should give yourself